don't want to have a network that is closed where everybody knows everybody. You actually want it to be broader than that, where you're the connector, and folks are there to help you be successful. So how do you do this? First of all, you hear it talked about often as an elevator speech. I personally don't like that term. But you need to be able to introduce yourself. That means you have to have some self-awareness. Who are you? What are you about? What's the one thing you want people to know about? That's how you introduce yourself. It's not always your title or your job. That's the least important thing about me, to be honest. There's a lot of other things that are far more exciting. So for you, what do you want people to know when you introduce yourself to them? Why do you want to connect to that person? Every time I'm blessed to give a presentation, people will come up to me afterwards. They'll get my card, they'll talk to me and say, hey, I wanted to share this, or I enjoyed this point that you made that really resonated with me. If I give you a card and you say, hey, can I reach out to you sometime? And I say yes, do that. I'm going to give you a secret. We hosted an event at McEwen, I think that was last November, Women in Public Sector. I was the facilitator for that. I gave a presentation to that. I met someone through that. She followed up with me. She came to my office. We talked. She works for us now. It's a short-term gig. It's 9 months. But someone I met in November who followed up with me in January, within a month she is employed with McEwen University in my office, filling a great need. I didn't hire her because I like her. I hired her because her skill set fills a need we have. That doesn't happen if she doesn't follow up, folks. If she doesn't email me. And if she's not comfortable with the fact, my schedule is crazy, it probably will not be until the new year. Okay. Why are you interested in connecting? What do you need? Be direct. Tell us which I know is not the Canadian way. Be direct. Tell us what you want. What's your story? What do I need to know about you so I can help you? What do you need me to do? Is it an introduction? What do you need? Tell me more so I understand what you're trying to accomplish. So I can figure out how to best help you. You remember Jerry Maguire? Help me, help you. Yeah. What's your request? This is going to sound harsh, so I apologize in advance. Don't waste my time. If you gravitate to someone, they probably have an important position, or they have the capacity to introduce you to other people. Their networks. I tell my students, when you ask me and I say yes to be a reference for you, you now have Dr. Costin tattooed on your forehead. My reputation is all I have. And I am known for identifying great talent. So if you go out there and mess up, you have just messed with my reputation. Remember that. What do you need? Be clear. How can I help you? Tell us. I can't read your mind. You have to tell us. Follow up. Follow. There's a reason it's in capitals. I probably should put it in bold and red. The number one thing you can do is if you reach out to someone, they respond, follow up.
The thing we're going to do is we're going to talk a little bit about bias and how bias enters the hiring process. So we're going to show a series of images, or I'm going to show a series of images, and I want you to put on your hiring hat. You have the ability to hire someone, and I would like to know, based on photo alone, what you think about the person in the picture and how that would translate into your workplace. Okay? Is anyone going to be brave enough to tell me what they think of this fellow? Stressed. Sad. Okay? Not motivated. some tired eyes. Some busy maybe. Okay, see how just a photo of someone, you're already judging them a little bit? What about her? I heard something over there. Fashionista. Yeah. Hand on the hip, on the phone. What does that tell you? Attitude. Busy. Maybe she's powerful, important. Yeah, all sorts of things jump into mind. What about this guy? Happy. Did someone say weak? Geek? Okay. He's friendly, smiling. I noticed that he's really young. Young might lead me to also think inexperienced. How about her?
Happy.
Another happy person. Yeah. Very happy, I heard. What else? Easygoing. Would you want her in your workplace?
Yes.
Yeah, she looks fun, doesn't she? Right? Not the person who's going to be a dud to sit next to. Right? I want her in the office. See, and I'm being a little bit facetious here, but you see where it's going, just visual. Okay? What about this fellow? Experienced. Is that how we say old?
Yeah.
Right? Tired. What was the friend? Stubborn. Oh, okay. Yeah. Retired. Oh, this guy. I think this guy looks retired. Okay. Cool. Yeah. What else do you think about him?
I think he wants to work. He wants to be on vacation. He wants to be on vacation.
Rebellious. Okay. How about her?
That's rebellious.
Model. Fashionable. You guys notice she has a nose ring? What do you say about that? Right? I'm poking ya. Artsy. Okay. How about him? Laid back. What's another L word that comes to mind? Lazy. Right? Right? Confident? Okay. See, I like this. One person says lazy, one person says confident. Maybe cocky even. Okay. How about him? Serious, busy. Focused, smart. Hardworking, right? Kind of put the laptop down. Yeah. What about her? Smart? Someone say drunk. All sorts of things come to mind, right? And so what we've done is taken a whole bunch of photos of people and we've applied our thoughts to them. We're going to keep this activity going a little bit. And what I'd like you to do by show of hands, okay, if you're going to vote for person number 1, if you're going to vote for person number 9, with your hands, okay, I want you to tell me, based on photo alone, which of those you would hire if you were hiring a finance manager. Put your hands up. 9. Okay, I see some 2s, 3s. 9s. People are yelling 9, 2, 5. Okay. 3. Number 1. All right. So let's think about this. We all looked at their photos. We made judgment. And then when the hiring decision happens, some of you would hire the same person, some of you wouldn't. Okay, let's try it with another example. Maybe finance manager, maybe that was too vague. How about let's try it again, just test this again. What if you're hiring an equipment salesperson? Someone who knows a lot about technical equipment and they have to sell it. What number would you pick for that? I need hands. 6, 3, 2, 5, 3, 6, 5. Okay. Okay. Again, we're not conclusively unanimous. We all have different opinions there. Should we try one more? Sure. Okay, who would you hire if you're hiring a social media marketer? I'm hearing lots of 4. 7. 4. Okay. You guys are getting lively here. This is good. 10. Okay. 2. Again, no agreement, right? We're all still thinking, what would we imagine that person? Last one we'll do today. What if you're hiring an electrical engineer? Which one would you hire?
Number 1.
All of them. Who said that? You won my heart. Okay. I see 3 all the time.
6.
Okay. Okay, you get where I'm going here, right? Based on photo alone, we cannot predict who's going to fit well in a workplace, who's going to be able to do a job, who's going to be able to teach others. Looks alone don't tell us anything, really. What we're talking a lot about today is bias, and some of them were overtly biased. You know, I chose to draw the conclusion between someone who looks laid back and lazy. They're going to go through the funnel process and narrow it down. Lift one up, scan a cover letter, and make a flash decision. Do I want to read this person's resume? Yes or no? If it goes to the yes pile or the no pile. Next one. Scan/read the cover letter? Yes, no. Next one. Scan, no, yes, no. Okay, fast. Once they've got their yes pile, which is now this big, okay, they're going to read resumes. Again, pretty quickly, okay, and again, yes, no, Have a smaller stack yet, okay? Depending on the size of the pile, it may go again, right? And the more times they touch it, the more detail they put into it. Okay? Do not assume that the very first person who looks at your resume reads the full cover letter and the full resume, all pages. It's heartbreaking, because I know we, myself included, put a lot of effort into those, right? And they don't get read, in many cases. There's some variations on that, again, depending on who is doing the manual resume review. If we think back to bias, what do spelling mistakes, grammatical mistakes, what could that tell someone who maybe isn't as educated about bias as we are?
No pile. Put to the no pile.
Put it to the no pile. Why?
Because maybe they don't have good grammar.
Yeah.
And so in their speaking to clients and to people that we work with.
Yeah. Logical conclusion, right? If they can't write well, how can they speak to clients? Sure. Yep. So that happens a lot. Okay, I know someone who's a female and her name is in job postings and her name is distinctly female. If someone writes a cover letter to her that says, "Dear Sir," gone. Right? It's kind of harsh, but in her view, if someone hasn't taken the time to read the job posting, okay, see her, maybe look her up on LinkedIn, see her again, right? And hasn't made the time, taken the time to address that cover letter specifically to her. Okay? Not worth her time. She's got a big stack. And I realize you're all thinking that's me. It's not. Someone else in my network. Okay? But it's a sticking point. And so, and I know, and we all know, "Dear Sir" is a very formal way of addressing someone, right? And in some cultures, that might be the appropriate way to address someone that you don't know. In her view, in her bias, it means someone hasn't taken the time. She doesn't want anyone to work with her who isn't going to take the time. Okay, I see some sad faces. Should I lighten it up a bit, guys? So spelling mistakes, improper address line. The other thing that they're sticklers for too in the cover letter is making sure that it's just not a copy paste of a different job description, right? Even if it's addressed properly. I'm so excited for applying for this position. I've been dreaming of working at Stantec. fire it off to BMO. BMO, what do you guys think? Right? And it happens, I get it. It's a digital age, we try and recycle the information, but if you think back to that big stack, right, that they're going through, if there's something quick that jumps out that just isn't in alignment with what they're looking for, you're going to get yourself moved to the no pile really quickly. Okay? Lots of employers and organizations and recruiters realize that there is a lot of openness to bias in the process when it's someone individually looking at resumes, and so they've incorporated technology. So same thing, right? Still have the same job description. You have an application, in this case it's a resume, and in this time it's a computer doing the matching work. So the computer will take out some of that, they can't spell, therefore they must be a bad customer service person, right? So the computer will not make that conclusion, right? But it does also introduce other problems if people don't understand how they're working. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about those computer systems, so you have a little bit of understanding of how they work, so that you can therefore customize your applications for them. They're called Applicant Tracking Systems, or ATS. Have any of you applied for roles that have used one? Only a handful? Or are you just not very feeling brave today?
As I say, interview tips and tricks. First, an important thing as well is, I love speaking at ERIEC functions and sessions like this, because you are all experienced, qualified professionals. So communication styles is important to make sure that we are able to connect with people of different communication styles. We're going to talk a little bit about what some of the opening questions often are, and we're going to go back to that dreaded elevator speech, which I think that everybody needs to be armed with.
My elevator speech. Hi, my name is Tara Dragon. I have a background in information and information technology consulting, and I was working as a partner in a consulting firm prior to the birth of my son. After he was born and I wanted to return to work, I crafted a return to work plan that worked for me. I returned when he was 6 months in a part-time role, and I realized that I was able to do that because of my connections and relationships with clients. That helped me pivot into a new career where I now work with organizations who are looking to help professionals work in different ways in terms of flexible work.
So now what I would like to do is invite everyone, and I use the word invite deliberately, because if you don't want to do this, you don't have to do this. I'm not going to be coming around and taking names and adding it to the list of people we're not going to hire. If you would like to do this, what I'd like to do is pick someone on your table, and I would like you to do your 1 to 2 minute elevator speech to that person. Then I would like that person to give you some honest feedback, some constructive criticism. What did you like? What was missing? What could perhaps be improved? And then I would like the other person to do the same back. So why did you get an interview? Most importantly, your education, skills and experience based on your resume and covering letter show you can do the job. Very rarely, in fact never, do we interview someone who we don't think could do the job. We don't like to waste our time. So the reason that you got the interview is we believe you can do the job. And I'm going to go back to something that Doug said in the introduction today when he was talking about hard skills and soft skills. So your resume has told us your hard skills. What we are now doing in the interview is, I like to call it my 3 C's. We're doing the confirmation, because yes, we do need to make sure that what you have claimed in your resume is as accurate as we can possibly evaluate in 45 minutes. But also we are doing communication and culture fit. So communication is, how do you react to us? Are you eloquent? Are you comfortable dealing with people? And the culture fit is the most important thing from my perspective, because if I've got 30 candidates who could all do a job, I want the person who is going to fit in best with my team. So, you've received an invitation to an interview, and now it's time to do some research. Again, I'm quite often surprised how much lack of research that people have done when they come to an interview. And you should certainly know a little bit of history about the organisation. So if it's a private sector, where are they headquartered? How have they expanded in the past? How many offices do they have locally? What type of products and services do they do? If it's coming to an interview in the public sector, so let's say it is for the province, what does our ministry do? Sometimes we will ask the question as a bit of an icebreaker, who is our minister and what services do we provide?